Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today's video might be a little bit controversial and it might even piss a few people off. So let's go. I do hope that it doesn't actually piss anybody off, but I know the internet and I know that pretty much anything you do eventually is going to piss somebody off. And this is a topic that I feel is pretty important and I haven't seen or heard too many people really talking about it. So I wanted to make a video. So I've already made a few videos talking about how I hate AI image generation specifically, and the various reasons why I believe that it is toxic and in many different ways just not helpful, not just to the artist community, but to humanity in general. So I won't go over all of that again, but there is one aspect to the toxic environment that AI image generation that is just overtaking. Maybe it's only my feeds on social media. I'm not sure how widespread it is, but from my little bubble, it seems like it is very prevalent and very toxic. And that is this idea that a lot of people have that they can spot AI images from a mile away. They know exactly whether or not an artist is a fraud who is posting images claiming that they made them, but it's secretly generated by AI. And I don't know how many of these people are just trolls being trolls, but I do know that I've seen some discourse among seemingly well-intentioned people who are utterly convinced that artists that I know for a fact are creating their own images, painting them by hand, digitally or otherwise, and they are asserting that that person uses AI or that the images are AI generated. A lot of people are demanding that artists share like process shots or process videos to prove they made the images that they're sharing. And again, it's just all becoming toxic. There's trolls in the mix who are just trying to stir the pot. There's people who want to see the process shots and the process photos because they want to steal. And the percentage of people who are probably well-meaning, well-intentioned, and genuinely think that they know AI images from actual art, I don't know what that actual percentage is. But I do want to run a little experiment. You can call it a game or a quiz or whatever you want to call it, and show a few images side by side to see if you're one of these people who thinks that they can spot AI very easily. I want to put up a few images for just a couple of seconds at a time to see if you're able to tell the difference. And again, you can just consider it a fun little exercise or maybe a quiz for yourself to see if your AI radar is really as in tuned as you believe that it is. And then afterwards, I want to talk about some of the assertions, the main assertions that the people who say that they can spot AI art are using, the criteria, I guess, that they're following for what they will label as secret AI images versus actual human art. Because unfortunately, many of those can be debunked. So let's get started with our first image. I will put it up on the screen for 4 seconds, and you can decide for yourself whether or not it is AI generated or an actual artist creation. This is actually a piece made by an artist that I follow, whose name I'm probably going to butcher. They go by Saorai. I don't know if that's, like I said, the correct pronunciation, but this is an artist-made image. This digital painter, I know I've seen a lot of their posts being accused of being AI generated. Lots and lots and lots of people have been commenting that, and this person unfortunately keeps posting process videos and things like that to kind of prove that they made it. They actually recently made an image for Clip Studio Paint, like a promotional image, and both their account and the Clip Studio Paint account got a barrage of accusations about using AI to create their promotional images, and they had to share the process video and things like that. So, and it doesn't help, unfortunately, that their Instagram account name is Saorai. I have a suspicion, I don't know this person, like, particularly, and I don't know if that is her name or if it's like a nickname or something like that. I don't know what Saorai means, but it has AI in the title, so a lot of people are just honing in on that and assuming that the images that are created in the account are AI, which is incorrect. So the next image that I'm going to put up, again for 4 seconds. So this image is actually AI generated. And I'm not going to name the AI accounts that I have gotten the AI images from because I don't want to call them out specifically. I don't think that this is about calling out AI generators at this time or shaming them or anything like that. But this image is AI generated. And this particular Instagram account, most of their images are very similar to this. They're all portraits of women kind of done in the same style with the same proportions and things like that. So it's kind of easy to spot one of their images, but if you just saw a one-off image and you didn't know that it was AI generated, you might have a difficult time telling, especially since this one doesn't include hands or anything like that. So we're going to go with the next image. This is another AI generated image, and I'm not going to lie, this one is really cute. I'm actually pretty mad that this is AI generated because I personally think it's adorable. Very different art style from, I think, what we're kind of used to seeing as AI images, but this one I actually just got off of the Midjourney gallery page, so it was generated by I don't know who in Midjourney. So I'm going to do 2 more images. And then we'll talk about some of the things that people are citing as the telltale signs of AI images. This is an actual painting, a digital painting by an artist that I follow on Instagram, whose name is Camilla Stankiewicz. I don't know why I chose artists whose names I know I can't pronounce. I am so sorry if I butchered that last name. But she goes by Saint Camilla on Instagram, and she does a lot of traditional style media in digital painting, which of course speaks very closely to my heart. And yeah, she's another one who I think gets more accusations of creating or generating her images via AI than she deserves, because she deserves to have 0 accusations. So here is the last one. This is another artist painting, an actual digital painting made by an actual artist. And this is done by Chrisabug. She goes by Chrisabug on Instagram. Again, another artist that I followed for a few years now. And another artist who gets the accusations of AI art. I do think that this particular piece is a little bit different than her normal style. She does sometimes do chibi characters like this, but her more normal style, the one that she does more often, I think is much harder to actually achieve through AI generation because it's very textured. It's very crunchy. Again, she kind of makes her digital art look a little bit more like traditional art. And I don't think that, I haven't seen at least any AI images that kind of create the same sort of textured effect that her paintings have. This piece is also an older one of hers. I chose specifically this one for the last image because it kind of covers at least one of the biggest criteria that people who are saying they can spot AI images use, and that's hands. Of course, we know, I don't think I have ever seen a straight AI generated image that gets hands correctly. I don't know why. I know hands are difficult for me as an artist, and probably for every artist. Hands are a pain, but I'm not entirely sure why AI really just does not understand hands. And so this image, it is more of a chibi style, and a lot of people who assume that if the hands are not exactly anatomically correct and as detailed as they expect, then obviously it's AI. And that is absolutely not correct, because some artists either A, don't know how to draw hands, so you can't punish or yell at an artist for trying to learn and not being able to draw hands perfectly. And also B, many artists choose to simplify hands. They have a more simplified, cartoony or chibi style. And so you'll see hands and they kind of look like mittens. And that doesn't mean that they were AI generated by an AI that doesn't know how to draw hands. I do know that, if you see these images that have 8 fingers on the hand and the fingers are bent in the wrong direction, or the hand is backwards, something very obvious like that. I mean, that's obvious. That is the one criteria that I would say, well, I guess one of the 2 criteria that I would say is probably the most solid. But as we've already seen, many AI generated images, at least the ones that are shared online, don't include hands. They're like portraits. So that's not very helpful in those situations. Another criteria, and this one I think is actually fairly solid, but does have a few caveats, and that is details that don't really make sense or kind of like melt into each other. The biggest one being hair. A lot of the times AI generated images just do not have hair that makes sense. The wave patterns of the hair kind of like goes all over the place, or hair kind of melts into the skin in different places or melts into the background in different places. And that, like I said, I think that one is a pretty big red flag. But again, there are some artists who do chaotic hair on purpose, or artists who just don't know how to draw hair or paint hair. I'm going to put up a picture of mine from several years ago, many years ago, a digital painting in which the hair doesn't make any freaking sense. And I did this painting all by hand. Again, this was years ago. This was before AI image generation was a big thing. And if you looked at it now, you'd be like, wow, that is absolutely AI generated. It's not. It's just an artist who didn't know how to paint hair. And even though I wanted hair that was kind of like chaotic and flowy, it still doesn't make sense even in that context. And that was just because I didn't know what I was doing. There's also artists who, by artistic choice, like to have chaotic hair that blends or melts into the background for a full like cohesive painting, or like maybe even have hair that like wanders off, I guess, wanders off into the background, kind of fades out. Again, that is an artistic or stylistic choice, and it's not because it was generated by AI. And if you don't know the artist personally, or if you don't know that artist well, you might not even know that that's how they choose to paint hair. And so you can't go, accusing people of being frauds when you're not 1,000% sure. And again, AI is becoming much better at rendering details and hair and things like that. Details like elements in the background melding into each other or being malformed. I've seen a lot of birds that are like they look like melted birds. They are not fun to look at, or they kind of are clashing into the sky. Like literally they look like they crashed into the sky. And that's all going to kind of get better, I guess, quote unquote. That AI is going to get better at rendering those things the more it renders and the more it trains. I don't want to say get better, because I don't think that AI being better at tricking humans is a good thing, but yeah. Another criteria that is used quite often is facial features being like weird and distorted or misplaced. Again, this could be a sign of an artist who is learning how to draw the human face and therefore doesn't do it perfectly, or an artist drawing the face at an angle that they're not used to. I mean, I do this all the time. Draw a face that at an angle that I'm not used to because I'm trying to practice, or because I want a particular pose and I have to draw and redraw and draw and redraw because I'm not proficient with the face at that particular angle. So if an artist posts something and it looks like the face is off, again, it might just be a matter of them still learning and studying human faces or animal faces or whatever the subject happens to be. Or it could also be a stylistic choice. Some artists are very abstract and expressionist in their painting styles, and so they don't care too much about accuracy. They care more about color and flow and emotion in the painting. So you'll look at the image and think, that face doesn't make any sense, but it's probably because the artist was focusing on a lot of other things in the painting besides the face. One artist who comes to mind who is prolific, and I think we all know, is Loish. And I don't know if Loish herself has gotten accusations of AI generated images, because that would be asinine. That would be asinine. She has been a digital artist, sort of a forefather for a long time, foremother, I guess. But she doesn't focus on accuracy when she's painting her figures, her portraits or her figures. She focuses on the expression of the lines and the movement of the painting, and the more like emotion aspects of painting rather than the accuracy. So again, if you were to look from a critical standpoint at her portraits or her figures, you could say these don't make sense. But again, that's because she's not trying to be anatomically correct. That is a stylistic choice, and it's not because she doesn't know how to draw. She's obviously been doing it for decades. So again, looking at art like that, if you don't know the artist, you could easily misassume that it's AI generated when it absolutely wasn't. And the final thing that I'm going to talk about, there's actually several more, but I think I've sort of made the point, and this video is getting kind of long, is lighting and shadow details. This one is a little bit more the minutia of paintings. And again, AI generated images quite often will have inconsistent lighting and shadows, but so will artists, either on purpose or because they're still studying and they're still learning the way that lighting affects different items or objects, the way that it casts shadows, even the coloring of shadows and things like that. I mean, we're all still kind of learning and perfecting our craft, or we're making stylistic choices and we just kind of go with our gut or with our intuition when we're painting lighting and shadow. And most of the time, that's actually how I paint lighting and shadow. I think you could look at pretty much any of my paintings and think that probably doesn't make sense, because I quite often don't establish a strong lighting source. I think of things like soft ambient light, or light coming from multiple different places, bounce light. So if you were to look at my paintings, even now, you probably would question where the heck the light source is. Is it everywhere? And the answer is yes, because again, my stylistic choices, I like to kind of go with the flow and go with how I'm feeling for the painting in that moment. So if you are a person who gets into the nitty gritty of studying these images and trying to decide whether or not they are AI generated or not, you have to keep in mind that that artist might not know how to paint lighting and shadow properly, or they might not want to paint lighting and shadow properly because they are more focused on the creation itself than on the quote-unquote correctness. So however you did on the little quiz exercise that we performed, I hope that this brings a little bit of insight into the pool of thought that AI images are easy to spot, and people who are claiming AI images as paintings they made are frauds, or we should attack them, or anything like that. It's becoming harder and harder, even for seasoned professionals out here, to figure out what is AI and what is not. So I hope that this video, my rant, that little exercise that we did, helps to shed some light on that. Let's all try to be a little bit more understanding of each other. And I understand the need to fight AI images, especially in the world where they are replacing artists in terms of jobs. That is a massive issue. And of course, the issue behind the fact that most AI today that is generating images did it off of the backs of other artists, actual human artists. And many artists are struggling with their art literally being stolen and just reproduced by AI. All of that stuff, I am completely on board fighting against that. But the way that we fight against that is not through attacking each other and slinging accusations of fraud and AI. And there is one bit of good news in all of this. If you are determined to find out if a particular image is AI or not, or if you're very determined to find out if a particular creator is an AI image generator or an actual artist, there's something called Hive Moderation, and that can be found at hivemoderation.com. They have a machine learning model that detects AI generated content. You can either go to the website and upload the image or put in a URL of the image, and it will give a relatively accurate response, or it gives a 1 to 100% sort of rating on whether or not it believes the image is AI or not. They also have an extension for Chrome that you can install. I'm not sure if they have any other extensions or an app or anything, but you can install the extension and then you can just use it wherever you happen to be on the web to quickly scan an image to find out if it is AI or not. And again, this is not going to be 100% accurate. So far, I haven't found any errors, but I'm not willing to, immediately say that this is going to be 100% accurate. But they do a rating, 1 to 100%. So that is really, really helpful for helping determine whether or not something is AI. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Try Our Demo. And I'm going to do image and video detection. And I am going to upload an image that I know for a fact is AI, and we're going to see what they say. I know that it's AI because I got it from the Midjourney gallery page. So it does say 99.9% AI generated. I'm going to upload an image, one of the images that we used today, and again, 99.8% AI generated, and it is AI. Now let's do one that I know is not AI and see what it says. This one says 26.2% AI. So again, this is one of the first images that we did in our little test, and it is not AI at all. And the lower rating, if it's below 50% for me, that means it's not AI, but that is accurate. Let's do one more. Again, one that I know is not AI. 0%. So again, not 100%, but it is a really helpful tool. So far, I have yet to find it being inaccurate. So that might help if you are still unsure when you're looking at an image whether or not it is AI, which I think everybody should have healthy skepticism when they're looking at an image as to whether or not it's AI instead of just launching into accusations. So hopefully this video was helpful, and if you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, please leave those down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.